Yo, what is going on, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Relapse podcast. And this is episode number 3. And before we get started, I just have a couple announcements I want to make. But before I get into the announcements, this episode's basically just going to cover a lot of stuff I'm doing in my professional life that I'm really excited about and proud of, and I'm going to share with you guys. So I'm just going to run through some of that stuff real quick so you guys know what to expect and know what's coming. So you guys could help show support in the best way that you possibly can. And then after I run through all that, we're just going to run through some normal topics, basic topics, what's going on in sports and everything like that. Um, so let's get into the announcements. First things first, my roommate is starting a YouTube channel. If you're into film, photography, cameras, anything like that, go subscribe to him. And GMEC Production is the name. Go subscribe. Link will be in the description. It will mean everything if you subscribe. Show some support. Help support my roommate. Help get him started. He doesn't have any videos up yet, but videos should be coming very soon. He told me he's going to try to record something within the next couple weeks. So very soon, be on the lookout for that. GMEC Productions, link in the description. Okay, now the first little bit of professional business that's happening in my life. I launched a brand in my merch. Rigs Refined is my merch company, brand, everything you can ask for. I got shirts, hoodies, long sleeve shirts, sweaters, beanies, even canvases for your wall, chain pennants, everything you could ask for on the Rigs Refined website. I will link that also down in the description and in the comments. I'm wearing one of the hoodies right now with the design. The Berg 412 because I'm from Pittsburgh, for those of you that don't know. So the Berg 412, the logo's on the back, and just show some support. Go grab the merch. It'll mean the world to me. Show some support, go grab the merch. It's very good quality, very comfortable, and that's not me being biased. I actually think that it's very comfortable and very good quality. Okay. Secondly, Two Faced, my album dropped on all platforms. My first album on all platforms. So very excited about that. And yeah, it still don't feel real that I dropped an album on all platforms, but the support has been overwhelming on that project so far. And yeah, definitely more to come. Definitely more to come. So originally this episode was supposed to be filmed with Young Rico. You guys know him. He's been on the channel before. I've been on his channel. You guys know him. Um, but we tried to do this last night, but we had issues with the recording, and we recorded a whole episode, and we just ended up scrapping it because it didn't turn up to the quality that we would have liked. So we're definitely going to try to do that soon. Hopefully the next episode that comes out will have Young Rico in it. But yeah, we're going to try our best to try to, you know, suit everyone's needs and figure out what works best for both of us. Try to figure out a time that we can have him hop on the podcast and just everything like that, because we could have put out that episode, but for some reason the recording stopped like 20 minutes in, and I didn't want to just throw out a 20-minute podcast episode for you guys. So we're just we just scrapped it, and we're like, yeah, because we had so many more topics we want to talk about and everything like that. So we just scrapped it, and we're gonna try to figure something out. Try to do it another time. We rescheduled, and yeah, hopefully episode 4 will have Young Rico on. And while I'm speaking on the podcast right now, two things about that. Number one, I'm trying to be more consistent with the podcast because I really do have fun making this. Just it's like you build more of a personal connection. It's just me and you talking back and forth. And if I bring guests on, which I plan on doing, I have a couple guests lined up right now. We're just trying to work out the schedule. So bring guests on. It's like more interactive, more like where, you know, like a personal conversation right here. So trying to be more consistent with that, because I think the last episode I uploaded was back in like September, and yeah, that's not gonna cut it because I just streamed the other day, and I don't stream that often, but I'm trying to pick it back up. But it's hard because I'm in college right now, and you know how that goes. So just trying to use my free time to basically help promote my brand and just get it out there and be more consistent on YouTube and just everything in general to try to help get more eyes on the product. You guys know how that goes. But yeah, Riggs Relapse, hopefully more consistent. I don't want to promise anything, but my goal would be weekly episodes at the least. But again, I don't want to promise anything. So if I do want to like try to push something like that, maybe every 2 weeks is more realistic. It just depends like how much free time I truly have between this, getting back into streaming, the music thing, and even just making normal videos, just everything like that. Try to juggle it all, balance it all. And second thing on the Riggs Relapse merch actually just dropped on the Riggs Refined website. So go pick up some Riggs Relapse merch if you guys support the podcast, love the podcast, anything like that. Um, yeah, I think the merch looks pretty cool. All I have out's a t-shirt right now. If there's love on that and support on that, then I will eventually throw out a hoodie or a long sleeve or stuff like that, and different designs too for the podcast and just everything like that. So I think I covered everything about I wanted to cover, like my professional life. I shouted out who I wanted to shout out, told you about the podcast updates. So let's just hop into it. The NFL playoffs are going on right now. And as I'm recording this, the Chiefs and Bills game did not start yet. Well, first, I'm recording this on Sunday, January 21st. So I don't know when you guys are going to see it. Hopefully, you guys see it Monday, but we'll see. So the Bills and Chiefs game did not start yet. So don't know what's going on there. But the Lions just beat the Bucks. So the Lions are going up against the Niners, which I'm not gonna lie, guys. I'm kind of leaning towards the Lions. Not gonna lie, kind of leaning towards the Lions to go to the Super Bowl just because like they've been bad for so long. And as someone who's from Pittsburgh and a baseball fan, I'm a Pirate fan, so I know how that goes, right? So just I wish them the best. Happy that they're doing good. Same thing with the Texans, even though they lost to the Ravens yesterday, but good run from CJ Stroud. He's gonna be a menace for the foreseeable future. He's definitely one of the quarterbacks of the next generation that's going to carry the league for years to come. So the Texans got a good one there, and they should be set up for the foreseeable future. And going on there, the Ravens has the winner of the Chiefs and Bills game tonight. So going into um, Baltimore for the Chiefs or Bills, it's not going to be easy, but I should expect a good game tonight and a good game next week between the Ravens and either the Chiefs or the Bills. So both games next week should be really exciting, really good. My Super Bowl picks out of the guys who are in it right now is probably the 49ers and the Ravens, with the Ravens winning. That's probably just I think the 2-1 seeds are going to prevail. Um, yeah, football's not really like my specialty. I'm more of into basketball and baseball, but I know enough about football to like give like not just like bullshit my predictions, but like actually give like kind of educated predictions. But yeah, I think the 2-1 seeds are have a good chance of making it, and I feel like anyone in the AFC who's left right now that makes it is just gonna steamroll the NFC. Like that's just how I feel it's gonna happen. But yeah, let's jump into baseball. The spring training's like a month away, less than a month away. So my early World Series prediction. Let's see. Early World Series prediction. I know you guys are like, it's the Dodgers, right? No, they're gonna choke again. The Dodgers are gonna choke. You can bookmark this, save this, whatever you want to do. I think the Dodgers are going to choke. So, if it's not the Dodgers, then who's it going to be? I don't think anyone besides the Dodgers has made any like substantial moves that like you would immediately look at their roster and be like, "Oh yeah, that's a World Series team." Like, yeah, the Yankees added Juan Soto, Blake Snell's still out there. Um, the Astros just added Josh Hader, so the Astros have a good chance of going back, which that might be my prediction in the AL. Yeah, I'm going with the Astros in the AL. Yes, over the Yankees, I'm going with the Astros. And in the NL, I think we're gonna get a 2021 World Series rematch, Braves and Astros. That's what I think is gonna happen because the Braves, they haven't really improved that much, but they haven't gotten worse. And the Braves are always like good and solid. Um, so if they haven't gotten worse, then there's no reason why they should fall off because Acuna is going to get better. Michael Harris Jr., if he performs like he did the second half of the season, they're set. Spencer Strider, if he could lower his ERA, he got the stuff, gets enough strikeouts, he's good. Max Fried, if he's healthy, stays healthy. Um, yeah, they lost out on Mike Soroka, but like he's been injury prone and you don't really know what he's going to bring coming off of that long injury and that long recovery. So I don't think it's much of a loss there, but yeah, the Braves are just like if I'm looking at the Braves and the Dodgers, obviously on paper, the Braves are like on paper, the Dodgers are probably the better team on paper. However, Yamamoto, right? They just brought in Yamamoto hasn't pitched one inning of Major League Baseball, and he got 300 plus $1 million, which is well deserved in my opinion. Because yes, he pitched and dominated in the KBO, which is the second best league outside of Major League Baseball, and some people might even say it's a more competitive league than Major League Baseball. So yes, he dominated over there, but it's different culture over here. Would he be able to would make the transition like Shohei Ohtani? Yes, he's an MVP candidate now and basically an MVP candidate every single year now. But when he first came in, he was terrible. He had like a 6 ERA, maybe higher, couldn't hit. Like he was bad. It took him a couple years to adjust. So if that's what it takes Yamamoto to do, even though Yamamoto doesn't have to worry about hitting the pitching, he just has to worry about getting people out. But if it takes him a while to adjust, then that's not going to benefit the Dodgers this year or next year or maybe the year after that. But where the Dodgers are in a good place, basically, they deferred most of Shohei's money until after he's done playing so they could build a team around Shohei. That's why Shohei did that because he wants to play for a winner. He wants a ring. That's why he left the Angels because the Angels had Mike Trout and Shohei, but they didn't have the team around him. They tried with Anthony Rendon. He was a stud for the Nationals, led them to the World Series, was a big part of them winning the World Series. But with the Angels, he just hasn't done anything. He's been horrible. And he just came out the other day and said that, or it might have been today, whenever it was, and said that they should shorten the MLB season. Like, I'm not going to be that guy, but the jokes write themselves. Like, you're going to ask to shorten the MLB season when you only play 30 games a year, anyways. Like, you're always hurt. Like, I guess that's the reason why he wants it shortened. But, like, when you're injury prone and play like less than 1/4 of your team's games, you don't come out and say that because people is just going to laugh at you and look at you as a joke and like you're soft. So that's just my take on it. But with the Dodgers, they're going to be set like a couple years from now. But at the same time, Mookie Betts is getting older. Freddie Freeman's getting older. They got some young pieces, yes, but their top guys are getting older. So if Yamamoto doesn't perform right away like they expect him to do and be a staple in that rotation, like their ace, be a staple, because Shohei can't pitch this year. So they brought in Yamamoto, gave him that big contract, heavily relying on him to get them to the promised land. And if they can't rely on him this year, next year, year after that, it takes like 5 years into his 10-year contract, the Dodgers might be screwed because Mookie Betts is old. Freddie Freeman's old, like I said. Max Muncy's getting older. He's on the younger side, but he's getting older. Um, they have Walker Buehler. He's been injury prone though. This seems to be a steady constant. And it's just basically, can they contend? Like obviously, yes, they're a playoff team. They're making the playoffs like they have been. but can they make that extra push when it matters, which in years past they have not been able to do? So we don't know. We don't know. We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out. I feel like April and May is a big month, 2 months for the Dodgers to prove that they're real this year. And I know people are like, April games don't matter, May games don't matter. But when you come to September and October and you're trailing the division or a playoff spot by 2 games, then you're going to look back at the series you lost in April and be like, if we would have won those games about against those teams that are not in the hunt right now, we would be set and we would be straight. So it really does matter. Like baseball is one of those sports where it's just like you can't look at it and be like, "Oh, these are April games. They don't matter. We could just phone it in, and then we could start playing hard in July, August, September." No, you can't do that. So I feel like April and May is going to be a real um, good couple months and a test for the Dodgers for to put all the doubters away and to show that they're meant for this and they can do this. So with that being said, I don't think the Dodgers are beating the Braves in a 7-game series. I just don't think they are. I think Dodgers and Braves is definitely going to be the NLCS. Yes. But I don't think the Dodgers are going to beat the Braves. Also, someone else in the NL, the Phillies, don't sleep on them because they're just getting better too. Bryce Harper is a stud, right? Yes, they're probably going to lose out on Reese Hoskins this year, but last year they didn't have him. He tore his ACL. They didn't have him. So it's really not much of a loss if he didn't play last year because you saw what they did last year. They made it to this championship series, but they ended up losing to the D-backs, which, the D-backs were playing really good baseball in October, and all it takes is a hot streak of 2-3 weeks, and then boom, you find yourself in the World Series. So they just played a really hot D-backs team and just couldn't contain the heat, and they ended up losing in I forget how many games the series went, but yeah, so don't sleep on the Phillies either. And as a Pirate fan, I just got to rant real quick. All right. So the NL Central division is the worst division in baseball, right? We can all agree on that. Horrible division. Probably the worst. Either that or the AL Central. But I feel like the AL Central is probably better because they got the Guardians and the Twins, which outweighs any team in the NL Central. I don't care. Fight me. Argue with me. I don't care. But the Pirates could easily contend in this division, but right now they are the worst team in the division. Not even close. Because the Pirates don't sign anyone. Nada. Zip. Nothing. They sign no one, right? But if they could sign one or two key players, then basically, you're good. You can make it. Like, because no one else in the division can really contend. Like, all it takes, hold on, I'm trying to figure out how I want to word this. Look, basically, all it takes is one team in that division to go out and make a splash, and they're instantly the favorites to win the division because the Reds are mid. The Reds are mid. The Cubs signed, what's his name? The lefty pitcher from Japan, Shoto, I think his name is. They signed him. That's about it. They haven't done anything else. They're probably going to lose Cody Bellinger. They might bring him back, but they're probably going to lose him. So they're mid. The Cardinals brought in a retirement home as their starting rotation. They're mid. Yes, they had an off year last year, finished 5th in the division, missed the playoffs by a lot. But Nolan and Goldschmidt are going to hopefully bounce back for them, right? But in my opinion, they're still mid. The Brewers are ass, right? Simple as that. The Brewers are not a good team. I don't care what anyone says. The Brewers are going to get worse. They're declining. They're not a good team. And then you look at the Pirates, and they're super ass, right? So the Pirates just have a lot of holes that they just do not fill. Like, they've had so many injuries this offseason. They've had so many injuries. Johan Oviedo needs surgery. He's out for the year. Andy Rodriguez needs surgery. He's out for the year. But that could also be a blessing in disguise. Like, they could take a look, hopefully, at Henry Davis as the starting catcher, right? So Henry Davis, they played him in right field last year when he came up. Terrible decision. He's not an outfielder. And if you want to make him an outfielder, work him as in the outfield, right? in the off season. Don't do that in the middle of the year, right? Don't get him try to change positions once he comes up. He caught all in the minor leagues. Then you put him in right field with the Clemente wall at PNC Park when he comes up. And he can't read a ball off the wall. He could barely read fly balls. He got a cannon, yes, because he's a catcher. So he's supposed to have a cannon. So we know that. He could throw a runner out. But it's just the reads he gets in the outfield is not good. Not good at all. So you can't really have him in the outfield. So hopefully they put him starting catcher, opening day, starting catcher, right? And hopefully he can prove that he deserves to be a catcher. Endy, I love Endy, right? I love Endy. Maybe they move Endy to first base, right? So Endy could play first base, okay? So that's just what I'm doing. Like the Pirates started off hot last year and then it quickly went to shit. Like we all know how that turned out. It just went to shit after a 20-8 start. But I went into the offseason thinking the Pirates could make a splash next year. The Pirates could surprise people. The Pirates could be fighting for a wild card spot in the last week of September. The Pirates could make the playoffs. The Pirates could even be fighting for a divisional spot because I knew Cody Bellinger was up for a free agent. The Cardinals were coming off a bad year, so it might be stuck in their head, right? The Cubs, I wasn't really worried about them at the time. Um, The Reds, I wasn't worried about them. The Pirates bested the Reds in the season series last year. The Brewers always give the Pirates trouble. Same thing with the Cubs, but I'm not really worried about them in the grand scheme of things, right? But the problem is, as the offseason went on, people got hurt. Our key pieces that we needed to try to contend, have solid years, have gotten hurt, and it just made our chances worse. And what makes it worse is that we did nothing to try to combat that. There was a time for like maybe 3 weeks, a month, we had one starting pitcher in the rotation. One. That being Mitch Keller. Yes, Mitch Keller's an all-star. Yes, he's really good. But in baseball, there's five pitchers in the starting rotation. We had one, right? And we finished that season since like maybe August, July or August with two starting pitchers. And 3 through 5 was just basically openers, right? We had Bailey Falter in there, Andre Jackson, who we released for some reason, whatever. Like I liked Andre Jackson. I feel like he could have helped this team out of the bullpen. But and then we had Colin Selby, just basically openers, right? That's not going to cut it in the majors. Like you need consistent starters who could go out there and give you 5, 6 innings a game, not people who you could throw 2 innings and then bring in the bullpen because that just screws your bullpen, right? So then they do that. They're basically relying on Mitch Keller and Johan Oviedo when it's their turn to take the ball to go out there and throw 8 innings, like 7, 8 innings. And that can't happen like every game, right? So basically, especially with Oviedo, because Oviedo was good last year. He was a solid surprise. I was waiting for him to take the jump. He kind of took the jump, right? But like he was inconsistent. That was his problem. He was inconsistent. Like he either threw 7 innings of 1-run baseball or he let up 6 runs in 4 innings. Like there was no in between with that. And if you're relying on Johan and Mitch Keller to go out there and throw 7, 8 innings, if Johan goes out there and throws 4 innings and gives up 6 runs, it screws your plans up. And your bullpen that you plan on using for the bullpen games is already tanked, and they just have to be overworked, which our bullpen was really good last year. David Bednar, all-star. I love him. Very nice guy. I met him a couple of times. Really nice guy. Colin Holderman throws gas, nasty sinker. Dario Moreta, nasty slider, really good last year. Ryan Barucki, my props go out to him because I'm not going to lie. Whenever we first picked him up, he kind of struggled, right? So every time they put him in the game, I was like, oh, not Ryan Barucki. We're about to blow the lead. We're about to we're either about to blow the lead or the game's about to get more out of hand. But throughout the season, he finished with like a 2-something ERA, like a low 2-something ERA. and he really surprised me, and I'm hoping he can bounce on that, and he's going to be a key part of this Pirates bullpen next year. Carmen Mlodzinski, wow, what a pickup was that kid, right? He came up from the minors. He shoved until he went down with an injury. So if he could stay healthy, then the Pirates are in a good place in the bullpen. Keyword in the bullpen. Now we get to their needs, right? O'Neal Cruz is coming back to man that shortstop spot, right? So O'Neal Cruz is back. We need him, not an MVP type season. I'm not saying that, but we need him to at least hit like 250 with like 40 home runs, right? Coming back. Because last year he played only like a week and then he got that season ending injury against the White Sox. So, and Pirate fans have high hopes for O'Neal Cruz because let's be honest, he's a unicorn, right? People compare him and Ellie all the time because they have similar builds, similar play styles. So, same position. So, O'Neal Cruz needs to show people that he belongs in this league and he can be one of the top players and one of the faces of this league for years to come. So, he comes back man in the shortstop position. Key Brian Hayes is at third base. Amazing player. He definitely improved his offense this year, which is really good, really what we need because we know he's a Gold Glove defender. We knew that since 2020 because he has like 60 something defensive runs saved since 2020. And the leaders was Matt Chapman with I think 93, and I think T. Brown has a 66. I just read that the other day, and that's graphic was from 2017. So Matt Chapman's was from 2017 until now with 93 or whatever it was. Key Brian Hayes had 66 from 2020 to now. So 3 less years. And Key Brian Hayes had about a greater impact because he had more in a less time. Obviously not more overall, but like in that time, he had way more than Matt Chapman had. And Key Brian Hayes was ranked 3 on the list behind Matt Chapman and Nolan Arenado. So we know Key Brian Hayes is a defender. We know he is. But his offense just needs to stay consistent, and we just need him to keep improving and keep taking that next step, right? So I already mentioned the catching earlier. Hopefully it's Henry Davis that gets a starting spot behind the plate. First base is where we struggle. First base is what we need help at. We haven't had a consistent first baseman since Josh Bell was here, and we traded him like 3 years ago. Okay. So we brought in Rowdy Tellez. I would assume he's going to be a platoon option at first base. He might DH a couple games that Kutch doesn't play because Kutch is probably going to be our DH, right? Hopefully Kutch can get to 300 home runs this season, which he should. He's only one away, but that's a conversation for a different day. But Rowdy Tellez. At first, I didn't mind the pickup, right? I don't mind the pickup because I thought something else was coming. But they brought him in to be the starting first baseman every day. But maybe they're platooning now. But at first, everyone thought it was every day after they realized they weren't bringing in another first baseman. So my excitement level for that kind of went down. However, he had coming off a bad season last year, horrible season. So what we probably are going to hope for, like if I'm Ben Cherington and Bob Nutting, what I'm thinking and hoping for is Rowdy Tellez comes in, mashes the baseball. He doesn't have to hit for a high average. He can hit like 210, but like mashes, extra base hits, gap shots, home runs, especially mashes. Gets that trade value up. And then at the deadline, flip him for value. That's probably what their plan is. That's what they hope. That's probably what they brought him in for. However, if you want to be competitive, which Bob Nutting said at Pirate Fest, that's what they're trying to do. Well, fucking act like it, all right? Because they're not acting like they're not being competitive, all right? They're not. It's just they're not showing it. You can say you want to be competitive and spend money all you want, but you have to show it eventually, right? But you're not showing it. That's the problem. That's what it is. However, bringing in Rowdy Tellez for like $4 million, that's their offseason splash. You can't expect a fan base to get excited after years of being bottom feeders in the National League. You can't expect a fan base to get excited by bringing in Rowdy Tellez. No disrespect to Rowdy Tellez, no disrespect. But by bringing him in as your big splash offensively in an offense that has struggled, you can't do that. So I assume they're probably going to platoon him and Connor Joe, which I did not like. I like Connor Joe in the outfield more. I did not like him at first base because he played first base majority of the time after we traded Carlos Santana, right? I was kind of hoping that the Pirates would bring him back because Santana said he liked playing in Pittsburgh. The fans wanted him back. He's a good guy, good player. I would have taken him back on another 1-year deal, maybe 2-year deal. But we're the Pirates. We don't give out 2-year deals around here. So I definitely would have taken Santana back, but we got Rowdy Tellez instead. Okay. So with that, first base is kind of still a struggle, man. Because, like, yes, you can make a run with Rowdy Tellez and Connor Joe as your starting first baseman, but you just need everyone else to step up around them, which it kind of makes them too much of a liability, which you don't want to do that. Which that gets me to second base, which second base is kind of a toss-up right now. In my opinion, it's between Liover Peguero and Jared Triolo at second base, with G1 Bay maybe fitting in there a couple games here and there as a utility there in center field. Put G1 Bay maybe, if he even makes the roster, right? But if I'm the Pirates, their system is clogged with middle infielders, clogged. So if I'm the Pirates, right, I look out who performed in the major league level. And in my opinion, small sample size, of course, small sample size, Liover Peguero performed better than Nick Gonzalez, way better than Nick Gonzalez. And last year, I understand keeping them both, right? Keeping them both because O'Neal Cruz went down. So you needed someone to play shortstop, right? So we put Peguero at shortstop because we needed someone to do that. But however, halfway through the year, Jared Triolo came along. So a name who snuck under the radar. No one expected much from him. He had over 300. Not a power hitter, but he gets on base. That's what you want. Kind of like Luis Arias, right? That's what you want. You want someone to get on base, help lead the offense, help ignite that spark, right? So Jared Triolo, in my opinion, earned himself a spot on the 2024 opening day roster. Of course, we still got to go through spring training, see how everyone's feeling, everyone performs, but Jared Triolo definitely earned himself a spot in my book. So with that being said, what do you do with Nick Gonzalez, right? He has good power. We know that. That's why we drafted him, because he's a good power hitting middle infielder. But he strikes out way too much. Way too much. And it's not worth the strikeout percentage just because he's a good power hitter, because like it doesn't equal out. So if I'm the Pirates, I try to make a splash for a starting pitcher. A good established starting pitcher. And I throw Nick Gonzalez in that deal because he's had limited major league action, right? Limited major league action. He still has potential because teams could still look at him and say he could be a good power bat and a good second baseman for now to fill that spot that we need filled. So we'll take a flyer on Nick Gonzalez. That could easily happen. I don't think it will because the Pirates, I don't think will try to make a big splash. But if they do, then that's what I would do. Because I know the Pirates have been linked to a couple of names this offseason, but if I'm going to be honest, I don't see any of them happening. The top two names I saw was Dylan Cease from the White Sox, but I heard the asking price from the White Sox is ridiculous on him, and I wouldn't take the flyer. Like, I heard the Pirates would have to give up Tamar Johnson, and I like Tamar. I think he could be a staple at second base in this organization in the future. So I'm not doing that trade. Tamar and Paul Skeens are untouchable. The only two untouchable prospects in the organization, in my opinion. However, I would flip Tamar for the right deal. But Paul Skeens, 100% untouchable. But Tamar Johnson, I would only flip for the right deal. Like, I would flip Tamar Johnson for Dylan Cease, right? If it was for Dylan Cease and Luis Robert, which was also, like, discussed and the Pirates were involved. Allegedly, the Pirates were involved. But I see the White Sox holding on to Luis Robert. I don't see them giving him up. So, with that being said, I think that's a lost cause. The second name that they've been linked to in the starting rotation is Edward Cabrera from the Miami Marlins. And this is a guy I would definitely take a flyer on. I would definitely love to have Edward Cabrera as a part of this rotation. I would love it. However, he's young, potential. We know that. So I think it's going to take a lot to get him. I think the Marlins are going to ask for a lot because the Marlins want to build up their farm system because they made the playoffs last year, but they got swept in the wild card, right? They got stomped out by the Phillies. So the Marlins want to try to improve and try to build off of last year and what some called a fluke playoff run because no one expected the Marlins to be in that spot. Luis Arias was a big help. He hit like damn near 400 like the whole year until like the last couple months where he kind of fell off a little bit, but he had damn near 400 to like the All-Star break. And no one expected that. Everyone throughout the whole first half of the season, they were like, is he going to beat Ted Williams' batting average like for a single season? Is he going to beat the record? No one expected that. So they want to bounce off and try to build off of what they had. So I think that's kind of a lost cause too, because the asking price might be something that the Pirates are not willing to pay, or anyone's not willing to pay at that price. Um, so yeah, we jumped into the outfield. Left field is Brian Reynolds. Okay, that's a staple. He had kind of a down year last year. Um, he normally always hits over 300, and every season of professional baseball he's played, minor leagues included, he has hit over 300 except for twice, which was last year and 2020 shortened pandemic season. Which just because he hit under 300 last year doesn't mean he was bad. He was good. Like he performed good, but people just expected more. But he still played really good and really solid. So if he can build off of that and improve even just a little bit, we should be in a good spot. Center field is Jack Sawinski, which I like Jack, right? I like him. However, he hits home runs. Yes. He strikes out a lot. Yes. He hits a low average. Yes. However, he hits a lot of home runs. So at that point, it's like you got to keep Jack in there and just hope he improves and hope his average can raise up a little bit and just hope he takes that next step and bounces. See, the problem as I'm going through with this is it's a lot of the Pirates having to hope. Like, hope this guy doesn't fall off. Hope this guy improves. Hope this guy takes the right jump. And that's what the problem is. It's a lot of hoping, not a lot of consistency. Like, I know this guy is going to come in and help us win. Like, there's not a lot of that, right? It's a lot of I hope O'Neal Cruz can be how he was before the injury. I hope he doesn't have a slump. I hope Brian Reynolds can improve and hit 320 again. I hope Brian Hayes can keep hitting, right? It's a lot of that, and you can't have that and expect to make a run because it just doesn't happen that often. Because it's not often that you have a bunch of players on a team that all click at the same time because you're going to have players that have amazing seasons, and then you're going to have players who you expect to have amazing seasons or good seasons that are underwhelming and have bad seasons. That's just how sports are, right? That's just how it goes. So with that being said, the last position is right field, and they got Edward Olivares in there, which he got limited action in Kansas City, but I heard good things about him. So I'm excited to see him play, but I'm not going to lie, I was kind of hoping for more in the outfield spot because going in the offseason, our top three needs were starting pitching, first base, and right field. Those were our top three needs. So I was kind of hoping for more in the right field spot. But Edward Olivares, I'll take him and just see what he can do. So we'll find out, see how that goes. In the starting rotation, Mitch Keller, Marco Gonzalez, Martin Perez, right? I'm excited about Martin Perez joining the team. I'm excited about that, really excited. However, it only being a 1-year deal makes me a little less excited because I know what's probably going to happen is if he shoves like we hope he does, see, there goes another hope. Like, I hope he does good. If he shoves like we hope he does, we're going to trade him at the deadline for prospects, right? Because we're probably not going to be in the race, right? So we're just going to deal him away anywhere and be where we were to begin with 2 starting pitchers, right? And to Bob Nutting, I know you're not going to watch this, right? But to Bob Nutting, you say that you want to contend. You say you want to give Pittsburgh a winner. You say you want to spend money. You say you're going to add more starting pitching. You say you're going to add more offense, whatever. You say you're going to do a lot of things. Well, prove it, right? Do something to make the fan base say, wow, Bob Nutting is really trying to win. The Pirates are really trying to contend. Prove it, okay? Because you have been trying to fill out the starting rotation for the past couple months, and you've barely made any progress. You brought in Marco Gonzalez, okay, which is kind of a high risk, low risk, high reward type of player. Brought in Martin Perez, which is he's kind of established, was an all-star a couple years ago. But after that, who do you have? Quinn Priester, he struggled over a 9 ERA in his short stint. Colin Selby again, he struggled. Do you wait for Paul Skeens to come up in June, July, and hope for the best there? Hope he could get you out of the slump and turn the season around? Jared Jones, you try him? Bubba Chandler? Like, do you try to hope the prospects down there are going to fill up the rotation and hope that they could be key pieces to helping you contend? Like, is that what you're going for? Because if you are, I don't know if it's a good plan. Because Paul Skeens, yes, he's going to perform, in my opinion. He's going to be good. He's going to be a stud. So we have to capitalize on him while he's here. And the reason I say that is because when that contract's up, that rookie contract, when it's up, and he's up for a payday and a free agent, he is going to look as far away from here as possible. He's going to ask for probably a contract over $300 million with the way contracts are working now. You think the Pirates have $300 million to pay Paul Skeens? The answer is no. No, they don't. So with that being said, when Paul Skeens comes up and we have him for like however long the rookie contract is, like 6-7 years, maybe that, we need to build a winner. We have to win with Paul Skeens. Because if we win with Paul Skeens, then that may make him think, maybe being in here is not that bad. Being in Pittsburgh isn't that bad. Maybe I could take a little bit of a cheaper contract if they offer it to me to stay in Pittsburgh, because I was shown in my time here that we can win and we have the team to win. That's what we have to hope for with Paul Skeens. Because people hype him up as the most hyped pitching prospect since Steven Strasburg, which I totally agree with. Paul Skeens was a monster in college, and he was the right choice for the Pirates to pick. That was a really loaded draft class up top, really loaded. Dylan Cruz, Paul Skeens, Max Clark, Wyatt Langford, really loaded top 4, really loaded. I think Paul Skeens was the best pick because Paul Skeens helped our needs, right? Yes, we might see Dylan Cruz sooner, because I expect both Dylan Cruz and Paul Skeens to come up this season. But we might see Dylan Cruz maybe make the opening day roster. I don't know if he will, but maybe. Maybe he'll come up in like May when Paul comes up in like July. Maybe. You don't know. But I think Paul Skeens was the right pick. And when the Pirates have him and he's up here, we have to win with him, right? We can't give him the Jacob deGrom treatment that deGrom got from the Mets, right? Where every time deGrom took the mound, the Mets scored 2 runs max. We can't do that because Paul Skeens isn't going to like that. He's not going to like that. So we have to build a solid offense around him to help him go out there and pitch like we know he can, because you can't expect him to throw 9 shutout innings every outing, right? He's going to have them outings where he throws like 5 and gives up 5 runs. And if the offense can't score, then in those type of outings, we're screwed. And basically, we just need to be better. Just have to build a better team. Spend money. Because in the way to win now is to spend money. Because if you look at all the top teams, you barely see the teams that have their farm system come up and draft good and have their farm system come up that succeed. Yeah, you see the Braves, right? They don't really spend that much money in free agency. Like, yes, they sign big players, yes, here and there. But a majority of their team is farm players. Spencer Strider, Ronald Acuna, Austin Riley. Like, it's just players from their farm that come up. And that's one of the rare exceptions. When you look at teams like the Dodgers, as I mentioned earlier, spend all the money. Teams like the Yankees spend all the money. And teams like the Padres spend all the money. So the way to win in professional sports nowadays is to spend money. And if you don't spend money, you can just look at being a bottom feeder. Look at the teams that don't spend money. The Rockies, the Pirates, the A's. They're relocating. However it goes, you need to spend money to be successful in this league. If you don't spend money, you can forget about it. So the Pirates have to spend money. Them spending money will prove to the fan base that they're serious about wanting to contend. So I just went into a long rant about the Pirates. So yeah, a majority of what I talk about on this podcast, sports-wise, is probably going to be Pittsburgh sport related, because that's what I have the most knowledge in, right? And most of it's probably going to be baseball, because that's, again, what I have the most knowledge in. So I'm going to try to be more consistent once baseball season starts. Try to be more consistent, wrap up these episodes, get them out. And yeah, but I'm going to try to be more consistent along the way too, because of all the brand opportunities and stuff. I want to help promote myself and get myself out there as much as I possibly can. And I feel like I'm trying to better myself and my production in these by making everything smooth, run smoothly, right? So that's what we all want to do. We want to help promote ourselves and make everything run smoothly in life, right? But obviously that's not always going to happen. You're going to come across these speed bumps and stuff like that. Like, I'm in college right now, as I mentioned, and I might have a lot of work that I need to get done, and I might not be able to make music or put out podcasts or stream or anything like that as much as I want to. And like that, it just happens and there's nothing you could do about it. So you just have to do your best, keep your head straight, and just work around it, and then try to use your free time to better yourself and make up for the time that you missed, which that's how you better yourself in your career professionally. So that's what I'm going to try to do. And I didn't really touch the NBA at all this year. I mean, this podcast, I really didn't touch the NBA. Which NBA is my second. Basketball is my second favorite sport, which I mentioned earlier. I'm a Minnesota Timberwolves fan. For those of you guys that don't know, but I streamed 2K a couple days ago, and you guys know if you've been following the channel for years, I've been mentioning the Timberwolves and NBA videos that I made. And they're in first place right now. in the West, which I'm expecting a big year from them. So I'm just going to dive into this real quick. Expecting a big year from them. Edwards, bad game against the Thunder. Bad. Missed 3 clutch free throws. But we know who Edwards is, right? We know how good he is. So just need him to carry that momentum past the All-Star break, into the second half, and then into the playoffs. And hopefully the Timberwolves can win their first finals and first championship this year. We'll see how that goes, okay? Because the past couple of years we've been getting first rounded, which I'm not a fan of, not gonna lie. I don't like it. But we will hopefully fare better since we've been better in the regular season, but regular season stats don't carry over to the playoffs. So you have to perform when the lights are bright. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, with that being said, guys, one more time, my merch is out. Here's the Berg design. There it is right there. You guys could see it a little better. Logo on the back. Got a bunch of other designs. Riggs Relapse merch just dropped. Very comfortable. Very fits true to size. Very comfortable. Go cop. Go show some support. It will mean the world. Please. And link in the comments, description, everything. Subscribe to my roommate's YouTube channel, GMEC Production. Link in the description. And hopefully next episode we finally got young Rico on, but we will see how that goes. And yeah, I'm gonna be talking to him, trying to see if he's free or whenever we can do it. But yeah, that will do it for this episode of Riggs Relapse. And yeah, hope you all have a nice day. Peace.